I'm speaking last because of my lack of seniority. So, but it's an honor to be part of the New York delegation, and the Build Back Better Act represents a transformational investment, not only in the physical but the social and human infrastructure of the United States. It's transformational in more ways than one. It's going to lay the groundwork for a clean energy economy to combat catastrophic climate change. It's going to lay the groundwork for a care economy that will bring support, economic security to families with children, to essential workers, to the elderly and the disabled. And at the heart of the new care economy is going to be a safety net of home care. And that would not have been possible without 1199 and SEIU. There are more than 800,000 people on the waiting list for Medicaid-funded home care. And by 2034, there are going to be more senior citizens than children in the United States. And we are finally going to have an expanded safety net of home care to ensure that the elderly can age with dignity and decency. And so my message to 1199 is you care for the people we love, and we want to care for you. We're also, the Build Back Better Act will expand public education for the first time in more than a century, right? Pre-K for every 3-year-old and 4-year-olds. We're going to expand access to affordable health care, and we're going to create, preserve, and retrofit about 1.4 million units of affordable housing. Now, contrary to the lies of the Republican Party, and the Republican Party does lie often, the Build Back Better Act will not add to the deficit. Not only does it pay for itself, but it's going to reduce the deficit by more than $100 billion. Nor will the Build Back Better Act add to the cost or tax burden of middle class or working class Americans. It's going to lower taxes for families with children. It's going to lower taxes for essential workers. It's going to lower taxes for property owners. It's going to cut home care costs and child care costs. It's going to cut the cost of higher education and housing and health care. It's going to cut the cost of energy with a transition to clean energy. It's going to cap the cost of insulin at $35. There are 100 million Americans who are either diabetic or pre-diabetic, for whom insulin is either a necessity in the present or is going to be a necessity in the future. Now, there's no issue that strikes closer to home for me than public housing, and it's been an honor to partner with Councilmember Velasquez and the whole delegation. I'm sorry, Congressman. We were both former council members, so that's why. Anyway, maybe I'm having a senior moment. But the Build Back Better Act includes more than $60 billion for public housing. Tens of billions of dollars for NYCHA would have been unimaginable only a year ago. If I had said to you that the New York delegation was going to deliver more than $60 billion for public housing, you would, to believe that, you have to believe that, you have the bridge to sell you, the Brooklyn Bridge or something. But we're confident that the Build Back Better Act is going to include enough funding to ensure that every roof and every brick, every boiler and every elevator that requires repair and replacement is finally going to be repaired. That we're finally going to end the humanitarian crisis that has persisted for far too long and has brought too much suffering to the people of public housing, including my family, my mother. And then finally, one of my greatest passions is the child tax credit. Before the Biden administration, before the latest Congress, the lowest income Americans were actually excluded from the full benefit of the child tax credit. The Build Back Better Act would make the child tax credit permanently refundable, permanently inclusive of the lowest income Americans. And unlike most tax credits, which tend to be given annually, families are going to receive up to $300 per child every month. The child tax credit is essentially Social Security for families with children. And like Social Security, it's going to become a permanent part of the American social safety net. So we're on the verge of building back better here in New York City. And as New York City goes, so goes the rest of America. And so I have a simple message for the United States Senate. We in the Democratic Caucus, in the House Democratic Caucus, we have done our part. The ball is in your court. Thank you. And now, the chair of the Cybersecurity Committee, Yvette Clarke. congressman and former council member of Eau Claire.
And former council member.